Okay, welcome everyone for the Tuesday program, English medium. We have about 1 hour. We have already appointed sutta or topic. But before going to that, if anyone is having any day's topic or any interview report or any comments, we can give a few minutes.
I'm Kumara here.
Yes.
Bhante, we have one report, experience report on the, may I present to you?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thero Bhante. Meditating for the last 4 to 5 years. Sitting meditation. Started by concentrated on the in and out breath. Very less bodily pains experienced. Fades away quickly. Thoughts occur and pass away. Mind becomes still very easily and effortlessly. Meditation time 20 minutes. Walking meditation. Started by lifting and placing the feet along the sand path. Feeling the stickiness and wetness of the wet sand. Thoughts come and go. Certain thoughts keep repeating. Mindfully able to recognize the desire or anger behind these thoughts, but getting better at not proliferating. Eventually, these thoughts fade away. Mind became still after about 30 minutes. After about 30 minutes, though still walking, mind is not on the feet nor on thoughts. Completely still. Meditation time 55 minutes. Daily activities. Mindful enough to see the patterns of the arising thoughts as advised by Bhante based upon the last report. On daily basis, is able to see the arising of anger, annoyance, unpleasantness, but is able to stay uninvolved and not put them into words or actions. Angry thoughts would keep occurring, but experiencing the weakening of these thoughts as time passes, understanding how desirable thoughts are rising and how they cause pain and sadness, practicing mindfully on not to go after past memories and just stay in the present moment. At times, certain past experiences do create a heavy feeling. Anticipation of certain figure goals does create restlessness in the mind. Feel very calm and peaceful rest of the time. End of the report, Bhante. But again, there's another thing she has asked there. Query, Bhante. The time of sitting session is getting less and less. Used to sit for an hour of was able to calm the mind. Eventually, this went down to 40 minutes. Now it's about 20 to 30 minutes. And this happens very naturally. Is this okay? How do one handle thoughts of restlessness caused by anticipation of future goals? Kindly advise. That's it, Bhante.
Yeah, the early part of the report, when it is reading, it is easy to see how much the sitting and walking experience helpful for in day-to-day activities. So you are gaining a lot of insight in day-to-day activities. And the latter part of special reference is less and less sitting. It is natural, but if the insight from the day-to-day activities is increasing, this can be compensated. But day-to-day activities is not catching, and still the sitting is less and less, then that is not appreciable. So, Lokaswaminatha used to say, he's a well-experienced old man, he says even the sitting is not gainful, it is not fruitful. You must have the habit of sitting at that time, at that duration, as a respect for your timetable. Otherwise that will be ultimately reducing, and the day you reduce the day-to-day insight also, then it's a lost. So therefore do it in a timetable. So according to the fixed timetable, in Pali it is called satata abhyase. Satata abhyase means regular practice. Daily you must take 50 minutes sitting. After 20 minutes it may be boring. It may be not gainful according to your value judgment, but just sit for the sake of sitting, and that is how you have to facilitate your livelihood, your way of life. Otherwise that meditation can take, or I would say it may take a bad turn by reducing the time period allocated. That is why the one way of compensation is in day-to-day activities you must be vigilant, you must be diligent. And early part of the report is assuring it. That much is good. Who was the person, Kumara, written the age there at the beginning?
No. No, Bhante, that is...
Okay. Whoever it may be.
No, but only the experience she has mentioned. 4 to 5 years she has been doing the meditating.
Yeah. This is a fairly good gain for the 4 to 5 years. So therefore now it is asking the livelihood, your date, how you adjust your way of living. Dhammajiva, allocate the particular time. That is what brought meditation up to that level. You have to facilitate it with regular practice. We are moving.
That's all from this side, Bhante.
If there are no other remarks, we will go to the due sutta.
Hey, my Asarai Swamini Hansa, respected Maha Sangha and the others. So we started discussing Sangyutta Nikaya Swamini Hansa. So Sangyutta Nikaya. We started from that, so starting from the very beginning, and we now have completed around 7 suttas, starting from Sangyutta Nikaya, Ogatarana Sutta. Now we have come to the 8th sutta. So
please read it. What is the name of the sutta?
It is called Susammutta Sutta. Susammutta Sutta. So the Pali I'll read. Ekamantang titakosa devata bhagavato santike imang gathang abasi. Yesan dhamma susammutta paravadesu niyare sutta te nappa bujjanti kalo te sang pabujjitunti. I'll repeat it again. Yesa dhamma susammutta paravadesu niyare sutta te nappa bujjanti kalo te sang pabujjitunti. So then the Buddha answers, Yesan dhamma asammutta paravadesu na niyare sambuddha sammadanyaya charanti visame samang. Yesan dhamma asammutta paravadesu na niyare sambuddha sammadanyaya charanti visame samang. Shall I repeat the Sinhala translation or shall I ask English translation?
We'll go for the English translation first. You have Bhikkhu Bodhi's book?
Yes, Bhante, this is recorded from his book.
Uh-huh.
This is Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, and this is the 8th sutra. It's Utterly Muddled is the title. At Savatthi, standing to one side, the Devata recited this verse in the presence of the Blessed One. Those who are utterly muddled about things, who may be led into others' doctrines, fast asleep, they have not yet awakened. It is time for them to awaken. And the Blessed One replies, those who aren't muddled about things, who cannot be led into others' doctrines, those awakened ones have rightly known, fare evenly amongst the uneven.
Susammutta, how the sutta, the topic is translated in the Bhikkhu Bodhi's book. What's the topic given?
The topic is...
To Susammutta?
The title is Utterly Muddled.
Sammutta. Vikshipta.
So it means very confused mind.
The Susammutta is... අපේ පොතේ මොකක්ද තියෙන්නේ?
සම්මුත්ත ඒකේ තව ටිකක් අර්ථය වැඩි කරනවා තමයි සුසම්මුත්ත.
සම්මුත්ත කියලා කියන්නේ මුට්ටසති. මුට්ටසති Susammutta means puddled mind or muddled and the vikshipta. Vikshipta කියලා කියන්නේ scattered mind. So it is about things confronted and things not confronted. Things something perceived and some things not perceived. But that is not the way the translation is going. Singular, yes, read it. No problem.
The Sinhala translation also, Susammutta Sutra, Savat Nuwara, එකත් පසක සිටි ඒ දෙවිතෙමේ භාගතුන් වහන්සේ සමීපෙහි මේ ගාථාව කීය. යම් කෙනෙකුගේ චතුස්සත්‍ය ධර්මයෝ වෙසෙසින් නැසුනාහුද.
එහෙමයි.
ඔහු පරවාදයන්හි පමුණුවනු ලැබෙත්. ඔහු නිදිගත්තාහු නොපුබුදිත්. ඔවුන්ට පිබිදීමට මේ කාලයයි. බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ උත්තර දෙනවා භගවත්තු යම් කෙනෙකුගේ චතුස්සත්‍ය ධර්මයෝ නොනැසුනාහුද ඔහු පරවාදයන්හි නොපමුණුවනු ලබත්. සර්වඥ බුද්ධාදී බුදුවරු මනවින් දැන විෂම ලෝකයේහි සමව හැසිරෙත්.
ඒ කියන්නේ චතුස්සත්‍ය ධර්මයේ ඒ සම්මුට්ඨ විසම්මුට්ඨ කියන දෙක තමයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ.
එහෙමයි.
ඒතර බෑ සම්මුට්ඨ කියන පදේ චතුරාර්ය සත්‍ය කතාවක් නැහැ. There is no mention about four noble truths. Say sammutta visammutta. So this is called, so according to the thing we just discussed in singular medium, when we are meditating, we are very serious about the object of meditation. In breath, out breath, difference between the in breath, out breath, and in breath, out breath fighting with the sounds and thoughts and the pain. I mean, that is the normal scenario. So when it is happening, imagine amidst of all the distractions, sometimes you can see the cessation of in-breath and out-breath and the cessation of all the other external, the secondary objects also. So, which one you call susammutta, which one you call asammutta, very difficult. Samatha Bhavana, whenever the object is clear, it says mind is clear. You know where the mind is focused. You know where to be focused upon in the mindfulness and the concentration. But when the object disappears, there is no pivotal point. There is no the benchmark. But still, you can be either perplexed or unperplexed. Just be aware, there is nothing to focus upon, nothing, no object of meditation. How do you appreciate? You are happy with the have object or not have object? So that is the part. Before the Buddha's appearing, it was perplexed. No one knows. Now the Buddha appeared. Now the Devatava, the deity is telling the Buddha, now it is for them to open their eyes and be aware there is a akinchanya ayatana, nothing, no object, no mindfulness, no concentration. So you don't know where are you. Is it something to be happy or something to be upset? They must get awakened. That's the way I think. But the way it is translated into singular is not so open. It's some kind of a narrow down path. Because I think, maybe my arrogance, they are not translating with meditative experiences. They are translating with their theoretical understanding. So therefore, sammutta means you are sure what is you are focusing upon, that is sati. Sati sammosa means you are focusing at something, mind is interested at something. You are focusing to the breath, but the mind is in a sound. Mind is in the thinking. Mind is in a pain. But you are focusing again and again to the primary object, so you are perplexed. Or there is no primary object, no secondary object. Mind is very riding the wave. At that time, no waves. Very calm, like a ship on the calm sea. Is it an achievement or is it boring? It's monotonous. That is still a problem even to the Buddhist. That may be the point the Devatava, the deity, is raising, but very difficult according to the term you translated as sammutta or susammutta. Sammutta is the normal term is muttasati. Muttasati is asampajanasa naham bhikkhave chitta bhavana chitta samadhi badhamitike. That is one of the phrase in the Anapanasati Sutta. With the perplexed mind, for them there is no concentration. Because they are always expecting an object. That is what we call samatha samadhi. But there is a kind of a concentration or absorption, no object. That is we call vipassana samadhi. So Buddha only introduced this vipassana samadhi. You can be still very calm and quiet without any object. That is Animitta Samadhi. And that is something negating your ego. Something negating your the utterance, your expression. Nothing to explain. And nothing to be happy, nothing to be worried. And that is been well explained in the Buddhism, in the teaching of the Buddha, but the commentators lost the point. They missed the bus. They are always expecting sati to be present and the object to be present. Whenever the sati and object is not there, they become perplexed. They consider this as sammutta. But still, you can be calm and quiet. Knowingly you reduced, you remove the object. It is dwindled off, but you know there is nothing. You know there is no person to be happy, no way to express it. Even the mindfulness is there or not, immaterial, you can be there. So that kind of a depth is not translated in either in English or in Sinhala. So it's a good point to be discussed. So you just copied from Bhikkhu Bodhi?
I have some of the commentary if you would like to hear.
This is what I just wanted to.
Yes. So this is a repeat from the past, the 7th sutta. So I think it's the same. Well, there wasn't any commentary for this sutta, but it's the past sutta that's the same, basically explaining the same things. So just let me remember again what those who aren't muddled about things, who cannot be led into others' doctrines, those awakened ones have rightly known, faring evenly amongst the uneven.
What is the name of that previous one?
This
Appati Vidita. It's something related to the wisdom. This is something related to the sati. But
in this sutta it is called Yesan Dhamma Asammutta. So that is how this sutta goes. The previous one says Yesan Dhamma Suppati Vidita. Suppati Vidita and Asammutta is correct. So they are telling. So Suppati Vidita and Asammutta are telling. The other one says Appati Vidita and Susammutta are telling.
Yeah, they are terms which is not used often in the vocal language. We have to see the etymology, otherwise very difficult. So what I would like to see is when there is no object, where is no, even though you are not there to see whether you are mindful or not, but still you are not perplexed. You are sharp. That is called asammutta suppativita. That means be happy. No object, you don't know time and space, but you are not perplexed. So that is what you call magga jnana or phala jnana. That is what very difficult to put into words. That's what the Buddha communicated. But many get perplexed thinking very boring, very monotonous. There is no orientation. There is no underpinning support. So therefore the limitless situation, infinitum, some find very difficult to cope up with. They become sammutta. They get perplexed. So that is very difficult. This is because of upakilesas, the perversions. You can give a lot of interpretations. So very difficult, not only the experience, they have their own experience, interpretation. This is something got lost. No limits, no place. I can't fix myself, I can't fix my object, I can't fix my concentration. So that is atammayata, tammayata is the two terms. Under such circumstances, still you can be happy even your ego is not there. You are not egotistic happiness. You know now these are the temporary, I am no more. That's called atammayata, not a reason something out of that. But once you do what you do, is you either develop perplex or hatred for that and think I got lost, and psychiatrically you've been alienated or loneliness. But the patisangvidita means you are alone. You know you are alone. Alone means not you, but you are happy with aloneness. So this is the part utterly lost in commentaries. Commentators, they have never experienced, they have not touched even that. And you can see the phobia in commentaries. And somewhat in the Mahayana translation, sunyata, tuchata, ritata, anattata. So they say this is what you call sunya, nothing. Rita, absence of essence. Tucha, tucha means very lowly. And that is anatta. So that part is somewhat preserved in Mahayana tradition, and Mahayana themselves, they understand they are later additions, not in the Buddha's teaching itself. But the Buddha's teaching itself in the Sutta Nipata, they preserve it. But in normal suttas, it is always says, you are there, your orientation is there, your time and space is fixed. So you can continue. So much so it is worldly. But it come up to a crux point where beyond that you are no more. It is not necessary to communicate with someone, and neither you can do it utterly for the Nibbana or the success in your day-to-day worldly life. So today mindfulness is basically used for the success of the day-to-day life. For them, this appear like disappointment. Because no boundaries, no way of communication, no example to cite, no epithets. So that's the point where language see the limits. Language can't go beyond that. Or communication can't go beyond that. But mind-to-mind understanding can understand. And that explained in Mahayana tradition. One day, the Buddha was sitting in a very nice serene situation under a tree, and Venerable Kassapa is visiting the Buddha. Knowing that the Buddha is in deep samadhi, he also sit under a close by tree, and he also goes to the same samadhi. And when both of them are getting out of that samadhi, Buddha was so happy. Because his disciple also can go into that. He never disturbed the Buddha, telling, I came all the way, I just wanted to say goodbye or hi, nothing. Instead, the Buddha look at a flower, and it's blooming. And look at the face of the Venerable Kassapa. And Buddha smiled. Then the Dhamma transmission happened. That's the first generation. In the seventh one is the Dharma. My statue is not there, Dharma. Dharma is the seventh generation. By that time, they chase away from India. They can't understand because there is no Dharma. Because nothingness is there. But Theravada preserved the stage-wise linear relationship. This is the point, the linear relationship and the system approach merged together. So no language, no epithets, no foundation you can find, but that is something shared, something shareable with the people, those who have right mindset, right viewpoint. So I think present day many are experiencing it. They don't know how to communicate it. And Pandita Sayadaw says it is because basically the weakness of the teacher. Teacher must have that kind of a dialogue, discuss it and let them express it, and then say this is one of the most important thing because no value. Tucha. Tucha means no physical value. And it is not limited to Buddhists. That is why Theravada is exceptionally, it says, this is only for Buddhists, what the Theravada says. But they are not experiencing it. But the others can experience it, unless otherwise the Buddha appeared, he can't communicate, because no language, there is no, it is not expressed, it is not open, So therefore they get lost. So Devata says it's a time now to awake. Be open. Just express yourself. And wherever the point you can't express, wherever point you feel boring, monotonous, lost and negating, that may be the point. So how to express it? That's why this guy, he was expressing untouching areas. I mean, everyone is, while meditating, they want to see the touching points. Hardness, stiffness, tension. But he tried by himself, no one provoked. He says, I feel the arch while walking. And the arch experience is while in touching or lifting, moving, everywhere the same. Experience of arch have no the beginning, the middle and the end. Experience of arch need no any self. And no words to express. But when someone is talking on that, others also can try, then they lost walking meditation. They are lost into walking meditation because they are always touching, they are sense-based touching only they are experiencing. But yes, that is also possible, that is very obvious. But non-touching experience is not unperceivable. That's a poetic, that's a aesthetic. You have to be open. And that is each touching experience, each matter has antimatter in the physics. Therefore, each time you are experiencing something, unexperience is given the base. Experience is always on a tray of the unexperienced. Often you see what is on the tray, but you don't see the tray. Or you see the picture, but you don't see the canvas. So canvas is a birthright. It is not a result of your experience, your meditation. But your meditation is contradicting it most of the time, because meditation is always addressing to myself. Non-experienced part, self is not related. So therefore only people appreciating it, only people awaken, I am not telling Arahant, but with the correct viewpoint, they can experience what the Buddha is trying to show, what the Arahants are trying to show. It is coming through the normal language, bringing at ending, telling you to project and go along that line. And there you can see asammutta, not perplexion of the mind, instead serenity. That is called manasache pasannena bhasativa karotiva tatonan sukhamang veti chayava anapayani. That is the Dhammapada. Everything is mind-made, mind is the forerunner. Therefore, just be happy. Main thing is not to worry, be happy, and then you are always with hedonic pleasure. That is not worldly pleasure, because you are already in it, nothing to achieve. You are already in that happiness, but usually you have hatred. That is what to get rid of. Padutta manasa has to be looked away. Pasanna manasa, always you have to appreciate it. And then arising of the Buddha is happiness, arising of Dhamma is happiness, arising of Sangha is happiness, present moment is happiness, listening to the Dhamma is happiness, associating the true friends, happiness, and monkhood is happiness. Very rare. But even monks in today's world are utterly unhappy, utterly tension, utterly frustrated because they know Dhamma, so-called Dhamma. I had a one-day program for Winnipeg for the old people, children and elderly people. So I tried walking on the rope, backward, forward, closed eyes and open eyes and everything. And they were very happy. I was singing and all the guys. At the end, one person came and asked me, "What is Bhante? Okay, everything was where Dhamma?" He can't understand because no praying, no telling Panchasila, no sadhu, nothing. I go, that is the Dhamma, what you know as Dhamma is wrong. That's all. Maybe it is like hitting him. He participated, he was happy. But he think that whenever the happiness happen, no Dhamma. Whenever Dhamma happen, you are happy with a very long face and just like the Jesus on the cross. That's what they think. But that never happened for the non-religious people. For children, they are happy. And that does not appear like a meditation session. You know, meditation session is something different. I mean, very sitting cross-legged and closed eyes, and I thought that is also part and part. That's the introduction. This is the way it is increasing, and you are vigilant. You are diligent. So that diligence can happen when whenever you are not experiencing something, because mind is 100% working. When you are experiencing, your partial mind is working. You are liking and disliking. You are experiencing nothing, means mind is full-fledged. That is not belongs to you. It is something, gala kadagen haraka gihilla. That cow has jump upon the fence. They are not bounded in the shed. Gone. That is hituakkara harakek. That means it's a kind of adamant cow. Jump upon the fence. If you wish, he can come back to the fence inside or go out. But people say the decent cows, or cows with the moral shame and the moral fear, always must be inside the fence. That's how they introduce the monkhood. That's how they introduce Sila Sikha, Samadhi Sikha, Panya Sikha. Sila Sikha, Samadhi Sikha, yes. But the Panya Sikha, you put a somersault, that's called pole vault, jump upon the rope, jump upon the pole. What again? The pole is using, you have to jump upon the bar. So this is, I think this is something related to the some pole vault.
Thank you, Bhante, for your teaching. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. What you were talking about experiencing what we don't experience, like the space underneath the arch of your foot. You don't feel that part of your foot when you're walking. And normally what we experience another way, what reminded me of what you were saying was that another way that we can look at our mind or how we experience things is that the mind usually closes around an object. It sees some object and becomes clinging to that object. So usually it's often we are desiring things and we cling to that object of desire, whether it's food or whatever. And then the mind closes around that object and we become sort of locked onto the object. Then we're not experiencing the spaciousness of our mind, which is another aspect of around the object. There's also can be spaciousness. We can be aware of experiencing the object, but not locked on it, focused completely on it. So seems like that's what we do in meditation is we're aware and we still have the spaciousness available. So we can experience, and then we can experience the object and experience it with objectiveness rather than thinking it's, relating to it as myself. So we take a step back and see an object with some spaciousness around it, and we can not get locked into it, craving it or clinging to it. And the other thing is that what you're talking about when we get to a place where we've let go of experiencing something, say we're noting an object and we're doing meditation, and the mind just becomes clear effortless, say in walking meditation, and so the walking becomes effortless. We're not really focusing anywhere, but the mind is more feeling, experiencing everything, really, and wherever it is aware, it's very clear and effortless and dynamic, but there's no single object that we're focusing on. So in that case, that's a place where we could become perplexed, or what's going on, like you're saying. So again, that's a place where the mind isn't fixed on an object, but it's open, and there's this open receptivity to anything. So
good. That is the message you have to take it to America.
Yes, America. Well, I mean, people in America are also meditating, and the ones that want to.
The part to take it to America, and specifically Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's materialism, consumerism.
No, don't think so.
Yeah.
The point radically I just wanted to explain or to add. My contribution is, even though you say there is an object and mind is attracted to that object, therefore it won't go beyond the object and see the vastness. You made that point. But once you understand the point in a discussion like that, next time when you are with primary object, for example, still you can see the vastness. That means you are not attracted to the object. You are not looking at it for the egotistic way. And see, my mind is here. My mind is with the primary, but the sounds are there. So, thoughts are there. Pains are there, but I am not worried. And out of that, when there is nothing and losing your egotism, and you have one object, through that still you can see the vastness. There's no ego, but due to your insight, you are not trapped with the object, but you are with the object, single object. You have mindfulness, you have concentration, you have viewpoint, but you can see the vastness. That is called inferential knowledge. That is called deductive knowledge. Because you have participated in the discussion, next time you go and you must reduce everything to the one-pointedness, and you know your mindset is not limited to object. The vastness you can see. Then, at that time, your supportive factor is the deductive knowledge, inferential. Mahasi Sayadaw says, don't look down that inferential knowledge. That's also part and parcel of the insight. So many people mixed up inferential knowledge with the book knowledge. And then people, they can't understand. They have to understand grammatically what does it mean. So therefore, whether you are with an object or without object, if you are with that mindset of the vastness, infinitum, you cannot be trapped. You can entertain it without ego. And that is something expressible. Something you can put into language. So that is what we call art. That's what we call aesthetic. You give some object, but the looker, the person who see, is entertaining it, not limited to the canvas and the painting. He is invited to see the holistic idea. Holistic here means the whole idea. So that is how the Da Vinci and others, they are masters. I am not telling they are meditators, but they are masters the particular art. So therefore Buddha is the finest artist. So that your point is correct, but not always single object is being attracted. There may be object knowingly you go, not attracted. So object is still a threshold upon which you can stand and look at here and there, but you are not attached. Tatra tatra abhinandani, if you get attached, you are entrapped. Now I give the mic to Nethula. Yes. Now Nethula must be ready to explain where the non-touching areas.
Excuse me, Bhante. Yes, I also wanted to add that it seems like when we get to this point where the mind is letting go and let's say walking, where the mind and the body have come together into the experience, into a unity that there is a sense of non-self. There's not a clinging self anymore. There's just, as you're describing, there's this letting go of the self, I think. And so that seems to be something that's growing, is a sense of non-self.
Well, I am happy that Americans are talking like that. You bloody fellows are leading all the world for this sensuous pleasure and investment of the arms and all the kind of thing.
Yeah,
but some people become bald-headed and talking like this nonsense.
Yes, at least this is what I find in walking meditation. But then there's the rest of the 24 hours of the day.
So now the Ritula is the man.
Okay, Swami answered.
I will specify the task for you. And we are elderly people, mad people. You understand? We are talking about that book and this book. You are lucky enough, you are in Sydney and you are not with this, all the books and others. But you started to communicate when I am walking, I feel non-touching areas. And what is your experience? How much you manage to communicate it with us? Or you need more means like making videos and photos? Or are you happy enough that you have already communicated? Or do you have some more to communicate with elderly mad world?
So I'm not so, do you mean like, do we need to communicate this more? Or?
That is what you have to articulate in such a way. You have something to tell more, or you are still learning about the untouching areas, how much it is refining yourself, and how much you are efficient in communicating with mad world, with Amma and Tata and myself.
I don't really have anything to add to the touching and untouching parts, but this is definitely having a big effect because sometimes when you're meditating, like it doesn't just have to be meditation, like in day-to-day activities, it also helps. And like sometimes I have like a voice inside of me, like stopping me from doing what's wrong rather than what's not wrong. So I reckon the communication of the untouching parts is enough. So.
Well, that is you are making that it is not meditation. Everywhere you can feel, that means some kind of improvements in you. And you started it for 5 years back. And while you spending this life with the meditation and retreat and kind of thing, is your experience of untouchable areas, untouching areas, is there any improvement? Or is the same thing that you have invented 4 years before? Or you are improving?
So I answer, now, like, I don't really, like, my mind doesn't always go to the untouching parts. Like, it does from time to time, but most of the time I'm feeling more of, I'm more of a contemplation rather than...
You mean that effortful going into that or effortlessly going into that? Which one is improving?
Sorry, I answered.
When you are walking, effortlessly mind is going to the untouching areas. Or sometimes you have to focus to the untouching areas with your effort, with your will. Which one is, what is the trend you see? Forceful, willful thing or unwillful, unvolitional? It is going to the untouching areas.
Slowly, like sometimes when the mind's like very calm or I'm in a ready state, like effortlessly the mind will go, but most of the time I have to give a bit of a forcefulness for it to start work.
Which one you like? Forceful achievement or effortless achievement?
Effortless.
Right?
Effortless.
Effortless?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the what you call Nibbana. Because to effort you must have myself, ego, my will, my motivation. It's okay. With the motivation you can go, which is a good thing. And sometimes, naturally, the mind is unfolding into that. And that is no energy, no investment. That is your at-home situation. You are very familiar. Otherwise, when you are with the object and the touching part, you have to, yes, it's okay, be there. And you are with the primary object, but still you can see non-touching is waiting for you. And there you have to have a little bit of maneuvering and going into that. And that is part we call communication. People who are only meditators, those who are only searching about the touching part, is mad. They never believe untouching part is having some spirituality. They think it's a miss. They think it's a loss of the primary object, loss of the mindfulness, loss of the concentration. So they are always waiting. And they get attached to what they are feeling. But in the discussion, we try to say, never mind. Sometimes mind may jump above the fence and go to unknown areas. That may be the real truth. That may be the real liberation, upliftment. So therefore, play a little with. Have a risk. You are, risk lovers. And that is we call masculinity. Masculine power. Don't laugh, American. And if you are all the conservative, we call feminist. So that is not a good idea because females are fighting with that. Then the male and female, our left hand side of the brain is always thinking and linear and kind of thing. Right hand side, very aesthetic. So therefore you have to shift the mind from the right hand to left, left to right, and there you find it's a birthright. It is not meditation. You are born with, whether you are young or old, you are the male or female, doesn't matter. As you mentioned, even without meditation. So Buddha is catalyzing that part. After catalyzing, still people are going for the touchable areas. Only the experience. That is why the God, the deity can come and say, please get awakened, because Buddha is Dhamma is there. What the hell you are doing? Always you are with the experiencing or sense-based one. And then your attachment is there, ego is there. Your language is always limited. Being in the attached area or being in unattached area, let the mind to send kites. Send the mind to fly. That is aesthetic. That is very difficult to teach in a linear method. You have to be prepared. That is only what you call wisdom restraint. It's also kind of a restraint. Wisdom restraint, no boundaries. Vata kotu bami nati seema wal nati apema ape loak. E loketa yanda enda yaluwe. That is what the Madulduwa song is telling. But people think, religious people are always with the blinkers, limitations. And then, as you mentioned, whenever you have that kind of experience, you bounded, you are attached to the experience. You are always sense-based. But when the untouching areas happen, no sense, no eye, ear, nose, no contribution. It's a vastness, it's a birthright. Anything to add? Yes, he says it is only in walking meditation, but in sitting meditation, he tried with his father and tried to draw a bell-shaped curve. And he told on the tip of the bell, that tip of the iceberg I can experience. And both the ends, when the bell is spreading off, you can't experience. And that is the Nibbana. That's a part. You can start with what is touching and rubbing and aberration and kind of thing. And knowing, before and after that, there's nothing. Or available, very, very non-sensible. And then go further down, so much so your ego is not there. But it is detrimental, it is suicidal. You are not happy with your ego, you let it happen, so it is called epistemological suicidal. Yes.
In Zen, there's a saying that I've heard, not knowing is most intimate.
Yeah.
That's what...
That is you are at home.
Yeah.
That is your real home. You are searching for knowing, but don't worry, by knowing, you are trapped in the knowing, still you can be unknown. That's a human evolution. You are trapped in the in-breath or out-breath. But you know, it's a vast area which is not experiencing. You can't say not experiencing because you go prepared. You are in a small boat. You are safe. But vast ocean, little grain of sand, little drop of water, make the mighty ocean and the present land. Kauda Voltaire. Remember that poem? A little grain of sand and a little drop of water. Make the mighty ocean and the present land. You see? So Isaac Newton told, I am just a child at the beach. I can see pebbles and sands kind of thing, but I don't know the vast ocean and I don't know the present land. The Buddha told, I know everything. They knew, they don't know. It's also great literature, great poem. But the Buddha told, I started with that, but I know everything. I know the mighty ocean and the present land. Then only I declared and proclaimed, I am as a Buddha. But still Buddhists are trapped with what they know. But don't think all the time you are in selfish. You are trapped. You being in the known area, still you can be untrapped. Knowing that vast ocean is there, you are in a boat, no harm. That is kind of a continuation of the single discussion. That is what the same thing we were discussing, and Veluba Jnananda tried his best to explain it, and still that reverberating what he was telling, but he used a lot of words, so much of books. But otherwise, we idiots can't understand. And we idiots criticize him, telling that he used sort of a lot of terms, a lot of talks and kind of thing. But anyway, something happened. Very happy. We have about 10 minutes more. Anyone have to contribute?
Asana Bante, one person raised his hand from this side.
Yeah. Yes?
Yeah. Hiranta, you may talk.
Swaminathan, sir.
Yes, we can hear.
Swaminathan,
Yes?
one question. Now, when you are noting... Hiranta Swaminathan.
Hari.
Swaminathan, question experience දෙකක් තියෙනවා මම question එක ඉස්සෙල්ලා කියන්නම්. Swaminathan, when you are noting that things that you are not experiencing, isn't it an imagination? I can remember
you can't say it is noting. It's something happening. It can be a deductive knowledge or imagination or concept. It can be reality. It doesn't matter. You are not claiming this as experience. You are not claiming this as theoretical. They are happening. So you can continue it. By continuing only, you come to the maturity. That is, you are noted. Noting means something purposeful. It is noted, not noting. Noting self-started. Noted, you can note. It may be something occurrence to you, but noting the term, I think it is a question is wrong.
Yes,
understand?
Sir, I can remember once. Understood, sir, answer. I can remember. I mean, when you are Kamatan Sutta karna velawe, I can remember when somebody asked a question. When somebody was reading his experience, he said that he talked about something that he didn't experience, and you advise him not to go in that trend and just focus only on the experience. Now, if we encourage those things that we are not experiencing, then isn't it we are encouraging imagination?
No, not encourage imagination maybe, but it is, we can't say noting. Noting has to be possible only with something positive. There's nothing. You are not talking about your experience. I am not talking with that particular person. There is a communication gap. If that particular person is here, yes, we are in a close. But you are talking in proxy. If you are talking about your experience, I can go and share further. When it is happening, I am letting know. If there is no problem, just be with there. I am not asking to note it. It can be an imagination. It can be a reality that you have to verify by experiencing it the same. If there is no problem in experiencing in future, I call you have done enough medicine in the past life. But after coming that also, if you have no time, you have no other facilities, then I say sorry. So now what is your question?
No, sir, understood. So can I share my experience as well?
No, that your weakness is, Hiranta, I am talking to Hiranta. You are talking about others' experience. You have done a lot of damages by doing that. You and Venerable Vimala Buddhi. Don't talk about others' experience. Nothing you are concerned. Mind your own business. So I am alarming you after meeting the UK people, Ranga and Kalyan. You have spoiled them. I am accusing.
Amen, sir.
I know. You are a type of a psychopath. You are always handling other psychologists. Don't do it. That's why you are now in the hell for the present moment. You are doing an unwanted thing. I try my best not to fork into others' psychologies, because I know it's very, very dangerous, because we don't know it's imagination or it's a reality. So then how can we understand whether other person is imagining nothingness or reality of nothingness? Best thing is to let it happen again and again. That's why we are weekly meeting. I am sorry if I am disturbing, darling, but that is what I think.
No, it's all right, sir. I can handle it.
Hari, now we are going to your experience.
Okay. So now recently, I was looking at my daughter is practicing basketball. Now, when I am looking at her practicing, I suddenly, I experience happiness. Then at that moment, Sainas, I realized now I felt the happiness in my body. Then with that I realized now this happiness is same as the sadness. Because in both cases, that I don't have a control, and there is the changes in the body. So when you understand that, Sainasa,
now Nethule is practicing, and I can be happy, but I try my best not to be happy, because it's his birthright. Now you are talking now the third person, your daughter, and when she is practicing, everyone is happy that a young girl is practicing. And there is a kind of the unhappiness you are talking, and reason and the background for the unhappiness was not clear in your message. Can you repeat that part? What is the reason to be unhappy?
No, sir.
What the reasoning?
Now at that moment, I was happy, sir.
Yes, that part now, I understand, but the latter part.
So with the happiness, my body got changed. Now,
that is irrational. When that happiness, the body is in pain.
No, sir. The body got changed.
Body was changed. Yeah, changing is happiness, unhappiness. Yeah. Body means something changing. That is what the meaning of body. So, what is the relationship between that someone is meditating and you feel happy and body changes? They are completely two different atmospheres, two different spheres. So, you are going to relate it. That is what I try to understand.
Yes, sir. Now my daughter is practicing basketball. So I was looking at it. Then I felt happy about it. Then I felt that happiness in my body. Yeah. So when I feel it, I realize when there is a sadness also, the same thing happened to the body. So there is no difference between sadness and happiness. When we feel...
may I interrupt? I would say you have some negative feeling for the happiness. Self-torturing. That's more than 50% of the humankind. They don't like happiness. They call masochist or sadistic. Those who are inflicting suffering to the others, I think masochist. Whenever the happiness happens, still entertain kind of a suffering. Sadistic. These are the two terms in psychiatry. You can analyze and see which one you have. Now this is about daughters practicing and your bodily feelings, and there are two kinds. Something upon the external experience, something about the internal experience. That is we lost in our grammar. But in psychiatry, sadistic and masochist. So you are relating something you experience happiness in someone's happiness, and meanwhile that become a reason to be unhappy. That's called Attakilamatana Yoga. That is self-torturing. Now you have anything to express? No?
Yes, sir. So the second part is, sir, now when I understand that, the happiness and the sadness is same and both changes our body, and I feel the same way, then there was another happiness. It came within me. It's different to that the previous happiness. So it was it was relaxing. So that
So that is reverberating, because happiness means suffering. Suffering means happiness. That's why the Buddha says, sansaric reason is because of craving. Shadow of the craving is the hatred. Happiness and unhappiness, they are always going hand in hand. We have favorable interpretation for the happiness. But sharp people can understand each happiness bring a shadow. That is unhappiness. Knowing that is another happiness. But even then, your egotism may be boosting up. Then another unhappiness. You understand what I am going to explain? The cycles, reverberation?
No, Swami, I didn't.
So because you are happy and still you find there's a shadow, unhappiness. Now knowing that is
Amen.
Another happiness.
Amen.
And that is still you have not seen. In the second happiness, there is no egotism. The day you understand egotism, another unhappiness happens. You see the shadows, umbra and penumbra, different shades of meaning of the self. And whenever we are in the worldly materialism, we have no chance to analyze like that. So, lot of shadows going on to the infinitum. The Buddha says, you have nothing to clear 100%. Relativity, you know, this egotism make another lighter egotism, that make another lighter egotism, selfishness, that trend. Buddha ended it up. But the Buddha says to be arahant, you have to see the mechanism. Then you can calculate like a, algebra. Algebra calculation, algorithm. This is what happened in the artificial intelligence. Ultimately that created the suffering for that person, because his outlook is bad. Your mindset is bad. Your correct view is bad, or view is bad. So first thing is to have the view. Lucky we know the shadows and shadows and shadows it is going, and mercilessly we have to discuss. Openly we have to discuss. I have no mercy about Hiranta. I express.
Yes, sir.
Hiranta also must not have any respect or unrespect for the Bhante. You also have to open. Then we know, otherwise we have no use of living on this earth. Bloody shit. Living in this bloody shit. But we are sharing. We are sharing utterly, and that's what the Buddha. That's why the Dhamma. But Thero. Thank you. Kavud the mic got. Yes. We have a Kalu Hamdru that the newcomer to our this thing. So we are listening to Kalu Hamdru's voice.
Avasai Swaminanse, I just wanted to quickly add my view on this matter. I've been reading some piece of work by Venerable Katukurunde Jnanananda, and this seems to be a recurring theme in his work, that he explains the mind of the Arahant, that it is open and it knows, it sees, hears, smells, etc., but there is not an individual who is measuring that it is me who is knowing, or that is the thing that is being known. So this is a point that I have been struggling, I've been grappling with, understanding how it can be that there can be knowing, but there cannot be a central point from which this knowing is coming from. So in the previous English discussions with Bhante, and with also the Kamatana, he's been continuously explaining that this open mind, this having this open mind that is non-judgmental, it sort of cultivates the path to Nibbana. And when we are in this openness, the upakilesas, they tell us, so this is boring, and the old habits of the mind, they just want to do something, they feel like something is amiss, and they judge that boringness, that lack of energy. But like I said, this recurring theme in all the Dhamma talks, that this openness, this not having anything to cling to. Even if you know something, there's no reference to a person or a being who is knowing or a thing that is being known. So I just wanted to say this is what I'm still trying to.
Yeah, it is quite paradoxical.
Yeah.
You have to be an arahant first, then only you can practice.
Oh man.
That's the way they put it into the common language. You have to have the mindset. Dittincha anupagamma silava dasanena sampanno kamesu vinayagedang nahi jatu gabbaseyam punareti. First of all, you have to have the samma ditti or no ditti. Dittincha anupagamma silava, but you must restrain yourself, physical and verbal transgressions. Dasanena sampanno. That means we think after a ranship that dasana will come. No. At the outset you must have that dasana, that way of looking at it, that is piercing thing. And still you are doing naughty things. You are doing transgressions. But you know I am not doing. It's happening. Why should I worry? I am not doing the good things. That's the way it is unfolding. You can be happy. World also will be happy. But you disclaim. You know, when we are going to the Winnipeg, there is an area that there are a lot of aura, different colors happening. Aura. And it has happened very drastically. And Hiroshi is in the 8th floor and he can see. But some people are traveling to Niagara to see that. The eclipse and the aura. And this is not doing something, very beautiful dancing. I mean, it's not a creation of something. So ultimately what happened was, they attributed that's a God creation. And you can't comprehend. So the God idea, intelligent design itself is kind of a personalization of this experience. Kind of a reference point, kind of a benchmark. But God has no shape, according to the Quran. So you can't have idols. They kill everything. So that their idea also they try to explain, even though you are accusing telling that's personalization, to come up to that level if you are not arahant, but you have the no view kind of a mindset. I mean, just learned, or just inferential. And you are looking from that point of, if you are looking, yes, world is happening. I have no place. I have no point of judgmental. They are not asking my judgment. I have to self-impose and I have to have vested interest. Good point. Now it's time up. Thank you very much for everyone for the participation.